This is a stripped down version of Windows 11 that you can install if your CPU doesn't support TPM 2.0 or 8th generation processor. To be honest, I believe it will take persons a very long time to change out their current systems to that hardware, because let's say someone bought a 7th gen CPU the day before Windows 11 came out with these specifications. They're going to be very reluctant to upgrade, because if they just maxed out their systems and have a 7th generation CPU with 32 gigabytes or 64 gigabytes of RAM and all the bells and whistles, they may not want to switch out their systems or upgrade just because they want to use Windows 11. If you have an older CPU that has 2 cores and it's a 64-bit processor, it has 4 gigabytes of RAM and about 50 gigabytes of hard drive space to lease, then you can install Windows 11. This version that I'm going to tell you, you don't necessarily need to have an 8th gen CPU, and your CPU doesn't need to support TPM 2.0. You can download and flash the Windows ISO onto a flash drive and install it on your computer. Link in the description. I won't really go through the process of how that is done, because there are hundreds of videos on the internet, including one that I have that I put out earlier on my channel. Run it on top of your current Windows OS if you have Windows, and if you have Linux, I don't think I need to go through how you can test out a Windows operating system, because we have many different ways, and I'm pretty sure if you're using Linux, you already know how to test out a Windows OS. I'm going to take you into my desktop. I've been using this for about a few months now. I think it's from January or February until now, and I haven't uninstalled it or anything. It's just as it is. Anything that I install and I decide to uninstall it, it doesn't give me any issues at all.
That's what I'm talking about.
Alright, so onto the computer screen here now, guys. And as I said, I've been using this for months now, so everything is still baked in this. All of the applications that I use and everything, I've been using it alongside my Linux distros. Now I found this other way that you can do virtualization. So we all know about VirtualBox right here. I introduced it in my last few videos. There's this other program or feature that is called Hyper-V Manager. Now how you get this, before I even do this, type in Windows, turn off Windows features, and you'll get this pop-up right here. You just wait on it to populate. And if your CPU or your system supports virtualization, then you'll see this option here which says Hyper-V, which you'll see off like this. So you just tick it and then you hit OK. And it might download a few requirements and ask you to restart your system. When it does, then you'll be able to get you'll get this option. You'll get this application here. It will be installed on the computer. So this is Hyper-V Manager. I'm also going to leave a link somewhere up here where you can watch that video on how to check if your system supports virtualization. You'll have to check it in the BIOS and so forth. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and launch the Hyper-V Manager here, and I'm going to show you how it does virtualization. So this is basically Windows's built-in virtualization, where if you don't want to download any third-party application like VirtualBox or VMware, you have this option here where you can click New and then you click Virtual Machine. It's gonna come up with this box, and what you'll do is hit Next. This is where it asks you for a name, so you'll create a name, and if you want to change the drive aside from your C drive, you can do that. I won't be doing that. I'm just going to show you guys how this is. So if you want to create a name, let's say if you want to install a Linux-based distro, you want to install Windows 7 or Windows 8, then you can just give it a name there. You hit Next. Here, it asks you for generation 1 and generation 2. Now, I have not tested generation 1 because I see it for 32-bit operating systems here, and I will not be using any kind of 32-bit OS, only 64-bit. So that's why I selected generation 2. You can try using the one that says both 32 and 64 and let me know how it works in the comments below. But I've used this one, so we're going to continue with the 64-bit operating system one. So you hit Next. This is where you allocate the amount of memory that you wanted to have. I allocated 6 gigabytes to the last one, so you can allocate 4. So you can just leave the numbers as they are and leave the three last numbers as they are and just change the first one. So if you want to give it 4 gigabytes, you put 4. If you want to give it 6 gigabytes, you put 6. If you want it to be 8 gigabytes, you put 8, depending on the amount that you want to give it. So let's say we give this one 8 gigabytes, and then we go next. And here it asks for your network controller. Now, I have installed a Linux distro on this, but I have not been able to actually get the internet to work. So here where it says default switch, that's basically the option that I used, and I'll go next because the other option is no connection, and when I tried that, it doesn't pick up any kind of network at all. This is where you give it the amount of space that you want it to have. It seems like by default it takes up all of the space, or it wants to take all of the remaining space that is on your hard drive, so you have to allocate it. For any operating system that you're going to be installing, I would recommend that you use no less than 25 or 30 gigabytes. So for this, I'll be using 25 gigabytes. This is where we select the ISO file. Now you select this option and you click on browse. You go to where you have the ISO file that you downloaded. I have a Fedora here, so I'll just click next, and then you click next again, and then it tells you everything, and then you hit finish. Gonna go ahead and create that, and here what I want you to do, because I have one here already that's selected, but we're gonna go on this one. I'm gonna show you a few things. So you have to set everything basically. Here what I did, because this gave me hell and I didn't watch any tutorials on it, I haven't seen much tutorials on how to use this, so that's why I wanted to check it out. Now here where it says firmware, I don't think I changed anything here. Security, I don't think I changed anything here. The memory, I checked that was okay. The processor, I had to come here and give it 2 CPUs, and this is where you can give it any amount of CPUs that you want, 2, 4, 8, any amount. Okay, so when I get to here where it says network adapter, it has default switch and not connected. So as I said, not connected basically gives us no internet at all, but default switch just constantly searches for the internet and it doesn't find it. So I'm going to show you what I mean. Alright, I did try enabling virtualization, but it didn't make a difference, so that's basically it. So after you've done all of that, and as I said, I won't really be using this because this is not the operating system that I want to test out. Everything that I did with this, I have already done it with this one that I call WinTest. So we're going to go ahead and connect it right here, and then we're going to click start. So I have here a Manjaro distro that I installed via a bootable media. The same process that I did it with this ISO. So as usual for me, I will be using the proprietary drivers, and we're going to go ahead and boot into this. Now I have not installed it as yet. I've only tested it in the live environment, and that's where I was not able to get any internet connection. So I don't know if after I install it, I will be successful. So we're going to see what happens right now. Now actually it moves very quick. I'm gonna go ahead and minimize this and maximize this. And this is how it looks when it's maximized. It gives you this option here, but you can easily unpin it, I think, and it will go away. That's good. So that's gonna be it for this video. I just wanted to show you guys this other way that you can run a virtual machine. So if I should just switch my monitor down here, you'll see that this is my default screen down here. Well, not my default screen, but this is my other screen, and it's definitely running Windows on it right now. And I can just quickly switch back up here, and this is a 1080p monitor, so I'll have to size it down a bit, and you'll see that there is my Manjaro Linux up here. So this is a way that you can, I believe that because it comes with the system, it might be a little bit better. I don't know. As I said. Alright, so that's basically how Windows 11's stock virtualization works. As I said, the only issue that I've experienced is no internet. So if anyone has any way how to fix this, or anything that I'm doing that's wrong, please let me know in the comments. I would really appreciate it. So that is it for the video. Thank you so very much for watching. I would appreciate the support if you would hit the like button and you hit this subscribe button. And you don't even have to turn on the notifications if you don't want to. If you're subscribed and you see my video pop up when you're scrolling, you can just click on it if it's something that's interesting to you. But thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video. Have a good